Most organizations make the same mistake. Margins are under pressure. Costs are rising. Investors want better numbers. And suddenly, someone in the boardroom says, let's outsource. Let's move this to a GCC. Let's reduce cost through arbitrage. It sounds strategic. It sounds decisive. It sounds financially responsible. But very often, it is premature. And in many cases, it is fundamentally the wrong first move. Because when outsourcing becomes the starting point of efficiency, what you are actually doing is exporting inefficiency at scale. You are not fixing the problem. You are relocating it. And over time, something even more dangerous happens. Your GCC, your Global Capability Center, slowly becomes known for repetitive, transactional, low-end work. Not because your team lacks talent, but because you transferred clutter instead of capability. That is how strong organizations weaken their own strategic assets. At CGH, we believe in one principle. Don't put the cart before the horse. Before outsourcing, before automation, before technology investments, you must go through a disciplined lens. That lens is SECAR. What is SECAR? SECAR is a structured decision model that forces clarity before action. It stands for S, simplify, E, eliminate, C, consolidate, A, automate, R, relocate. Notice something carefully. Relocate, which includes outsourcing to a GCC, comes last, not first. Let us break this down properly. S, simplify. The first question is never, how do we reduce cost? The first question is, why is this process so complicated? Most corporate processes are not inefficient because people are incompetent. They are inefficient because complexity accumulates over time. Multiple approvals, legacy exceptions, shadow trackers, parallel reporting formats, duplicated validations. Before you even think of outsourcing, you must ask, are the wires crossed? Is the process unnecessarily layered? Are we solving yesterday's problems with today's headcount? Are we carrying historical baggage? And here is the most important thought. If you do decide to move this to a GCC, do you want them to inherit confusion or inherit clarity? If you transfer chaos, you are not saving cost. You are transferring training burden. Simplification requires courage. It means questioning sacred processes. It means challenging legacy workflows. It means asking why 5 times. And often, simplification alone delivers 10 to 20% efficiency improvement without moving a single job. That is the power of disciplined thinking. E, eliminate. After simplification comes something even more uncomfortable: elimination. In corporate life, we rarely ask, should this exist at all? We optimize reports no one reads. We improve dashboards no one uses. We generate reconciliations no one challenges. Activity is not productivity. Before you scale or outsource anything, ask, is this output truly value-adding? Who consumes it? What decision changes because of it? If we stop this tomorrow, who would notice? You will be surprised. In many organizations, 15 to 30% of operational workload exists because we have always done it. When you eliminate non-value tasks, you reduce volume permanently, and this matters deeply. Because if you outsource before elimination, your GCC becomes a factory of unnecessary work, and once something is embedded offshore, it becomes politically harder to shut down. Eliminate early, relocate later. C, consolidate. Now we move to structural thinking. Consolidation is about reducing fragmentation. Are similar processes being run by different teams? Are multiple systems doing overlapping functions? Are business units reinventing the same workflow? Consolidation creates scale. For example, instead of 5 regional reporting teams, can you create one standardized reporting structure? Instead of multiple approval chains, can you centralize governance? Consolidation improves control, standardization, transparency, capacity utilization, and it creates something critical before outsourcing: predictability. A GCC thrives on stable, standardized processes. If you relocate fragmented operations, the offshore team spends months understanding inconsistencies before delivering efficiency. Consolidation ensures that what you eventually transfer is structured, not scattered. A. Automate. Now, and only now, do we talk about automation. Automation is powerful. But automation applied to a broken process only makes mistakes faster. Before automating, ensure the process is simplified, waste is eliminated, ownership is clear, steps are standardized. Automation could include workflow tools, RPA, system integrations, AI-enabled checks, standard templates. But here is a strategic thought for leaders. Automation reduces dependency on location. Once automated, the question becomes less about labor arbitrage and more about capability management. Sometimes, after automation, you may realize you do not need to outsource at all. Or, the volume left to outsource is much smaller, but higher value. Automation shifts the conversation from cost-cutting to intelligent design. R. Relocate. Only after S, E, C, and A do we reach relocate. Relocation includes GCC transfer, shared services, outsourcing, offshoring, nearshoring. At this stage, relocation becomes a strategic scaling move, not a panic reaction. Now you are transferring simplified workflows, reduced volume, consolidated structures, partially automated systems. Your GCC is not receiving clutter. It is receiving a clean operating model. And that changes everything. Instead of becoming a repetitive execution engine, your GCC becomes a center of excellence, a process improvement hub, a digital transformation partner, a strategic capability builder. This is the difference between cost center and capability center. The long-term risk of skipping SECAR. Let us speak honestly. When organizations rush directly to outsourcing, they overload the GCC with messy processes. Knowledge transfer takes longer than expected. Cleanup effort delays cost benefits. Offshore teams get stuck in firefighting. Strategic perception of the GCC weakens. And over time, headquarters says, they only do transactional work. But the real issue was upstream. You exported confusion. The intake process determines the outcome. If intake is complex, your cost savings will be delayed by months, sometimes years. And leadership then starts questioning the GCC model itself. The problem was never the geography. The problem was the sequence. SECAR as a leadership discipline. SECAR is not a checklist. It is a mindset. It forces leaders to pause before acting. It demands uncomfortable questions. Are we solving the right problem? Are we chasing optics or outcomes? Are we moving fast or thinking deeply? Cost arbitrage is real. But cost arbitrage without structural improvement is temporary. Sustainable efficiency comes from disciplined architecture. And disciplined architecture follows sequence. Simplify, eliminate, consolidate, automate, relocate. In that order. Final thoughts. Do not put the cart before the horse. Do not rush to solutions because they are fashionable. Do not outsource complexity hoping geography will solve it. Outsourcing is not a strategy. It is a scaling mechanism. Before you make your GCC successful, make the intake successful. Fix and transfer. Do not transfer and fix. Because when your GC by C spends its first 6 months cleaning up, you are burning the very cost benefit you were chasing. SECAR protects you from that mistake. It ensures incremental gains before structural shifts. And it ensures that when you do relocate, you relocate strength, not inefficiency. At CGH, we don't just work hard, we work smart. And working smart means sequencing decisions correctly. Think before you transfer, design before you scale. And remember, relocation is powerful, but only when it comes last.